I grew up on Nicki Minaj.
For real.
Like that, she introduced me to female rap.
Misogynoir.
Oh.
So, misogynoir is a subtype of misogyny that deals specifically with racial and gender prejudice towards black women.
Baby, you are black and big. Don't ever forget that you're a big black man, bro. Sit down before they say you're gorilla trying to kill. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Glorified Jist podcast, the podcast for those who love reality TV, popular culture, internet discourse, and maybe even a little bit of gossip. But also those who love social science, are critical thinkers, and are trying to stay media literate in a world that wants us to do the complete opposite. We've made it to episode 3. Can't believe it. Guys, if you didn't know, most podcasts don't make it past 10 episodes. So I'm on episode 3, but I also have 2 minisodes. So I'm technically on episode 5, which means I'm halfway to being part of the elite members of society. Anyway, thank you to everyone who has tuned into episode 1 and 2 and who has continued to tune in. I'm so incredibly grateful. And now it's time to introduce today's guest. Now, all my guests are special, but today we have a special guest because this guest really understands the concept. You know, some people love reality TV and some people love social science. Very rarely do you get someone who loves reality TV just as much as I do and social science just as much as I do. Someone who's seen me through all my errors, through when I came to university in a red wig, to when I did Over the Table, the talk show, to when I used hairdressing to really get around the black women and talk, and now to have Glorified Jist. So very much a special guest. Introducing Patrice.
Hey.
How y'all doing?
That's how you sound. Yeah, I know.
We're in the presence of someone who has really seen me go from like just a girl with an idea. I'm still a girl with an idea, but just a girl like, oh, I'm fresh to university. Oh, I think I'm going to start this little YouTube talk show. Oh, I think I'm going to start doing hair. Every minute, I think. But you see me through it. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful to have you here. So Patrice loves... Do you want to tell them? No. Why does it make sense that you're here? You tell them.
I don't know. I love to talk about things.
She does.
And I don't just like to talk about like it on the surface level. I kind of like to break it down, think about, you know, the social science aspect, you know.
Should we tell them how we met?
I think you should tell them how we met.
Why? Okay, so basically, guys, before Glorified Jist went live, and as you guys see it, I did some demo episodes, and one of the people I did a demo episode was Patrice, and that was just to like get me used to, can I talk in front of the camera? What is the camera angles like? What's the pacing? How long is an episode going to be? What is the gist list? What is the citation? So Patrice was one of the people who I did that with, and in the demo episode we did how we met, and I made Patrice tell the story.
Yeah. So it's your turn.
No,
I don't think I can tell it as well as I told it last time. We could tell it together.
Okay, go.
Okay, I'll set the scene. First week of uni, that, you know how they put all those like, oh, you need to go to this, you need to go to this. There was this like reception, and they told us we need to go, but we didn't know it was a reception. We thought it was like a talk or something. We get there and everyone's just networking. So I'm like, okay, I'm looking around. I've come by myself. And then I see this girl and she has a red wig, and I'm like, oh, I feel like she's probably Caribbean. Like, let me see if I can like get a little conversation with her. So obviously I went up to her, we started talking, and you can take over.
And that's how we met.
Oh, did I tell the whole story?
Yeah. I was actually hoping you would do that. Yeah, that was us in first year, and then I studied cultural studies and media, and you did sociology. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the courses, because it's social science, they kind of
we did a lot of the same courses. Yeah.
So we were never in the same seminar, but we'd always go to our lectures together. Yeah. And then we started doing our food shopping together.
But wait, we even lived in the same block, but on the other side.
Oh yeah, we lived in the same block. Anybody who went to the University of Kent,
yeah,
and if you live in Tyler Court C,
hey,
we were there before. We're veterans. That's where we started. Yeah. Tyler Court C, and And then we started doing our food shops together, and that would be like our weekly like catch up. And we used to take, guys, you know how you have 3 different sizes of a suitcase? We would take the small suit. In fact,
wait, do you remember first year?
Did you have a trolley?
I had a trolley.
Of course you did. One thing you guys need to know about Patrice, granny. Granny. Them little old Caribbean grannies you see, yeah, in Iceland. She is that personified. She is that in a almost 26-year-old body.
Hey.
Oh, you don't want to expose your age?
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, so we used to go food shopping, and she had a trolley. I never had a trolley, did I?
No, you always had a suitcase. But the reason I had a trolley is because my mum gave it to me.
Of course she did. Of course she did.
My mum gave it to me, but then like to me it was her little travel weekend thing, and I was like, okay, it'll be fine. I never planned to use it for shopping, you know. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, and bear in mind we're going from campus to town. She's dragging that thing all over.
Do you remember when it broke?
No.
And I had to drag it because it was broken.
Did it break when we were together?
No, it was breaking. Like the thing wasn't pulling out, and I was trying to drag it, but the thing wouldn't extend.
I do remember though, you having like a little bit of ribbon tied on it, and that's how I knew that this girl was raised in a Caribbean household. Because
it was the plastic bag.
Yeah, that's it. Even worse, plastic bag. That is literally something my grandma would do. My grandma's 80.
Yeah,
bruh. But it was like you always felt like a little bit of home. Because, like,
definitely.
I feel like we're raised very similarly. Our families are like similar in terms of our parents are around the same age. We grew up on the same kind of music, food, culture, that sort of thing. And I'm just like, just look at this old woman. Like, like
I'm still an old lady, please. Like.
We know. We know. By the way, guys, if we seem giggly, we have to be transparent. We are 1.5 buzzballs down. Mm-hmm. So basically, Patrice had messaged me. Calm down. Patrice had messaged me maybe like a week ago or 2 weeks, a week and a half, and she was like, oh, I feel like I need to do something, like I just need to be silly because life's feeling really serious. It's been a very like intense January.
Very.
And I was like, well, do you want to drink buzzballs before we do our episode? And she was like, hell yeah. So that's what we're doing. I feel fine at the moment, but I think gradually
I'm gonna get giggly.
Yeah, we will deteriorate. Say it. Never mind.
I can't speak properly on a regular day. You want me to say deteriorate? Okay.
I don't have an icebreaker because we have a lot of things that we need to get into. So I'm like, there's no point. But I did want to ask you, sticking on the theme of uni, what is one thing you would bring back, like you would still do right now if you could, and what is one thing you would redo?
Like, what you
from
mean,
uni?
Still do
like anything you did in uni that you don't really do now that you still wish you could, or not just any. What's one thing from uni that you miss, shall I say? And then what's one thing you'd redo from that era?
I guess the thing I miss is the proximity. Like, I miss being able to wake up and just go to my friend's house, like at any time, really and truly, just do these like really impromptu things. I feel like now all my friends are all over the place, so I can't really do those like little like, you know, random things. I feel like that's what kind of made uni. You can literally just wake up one day and be like, oh, do you want to do this, and go do this, and it just not be that deep. But like now you have to book people in like 2-3 months in advance just to make sure you can see your people like consistently. So that's that. I guess that's not really in my control, but that's the thing I probably miss about it the most, like the proximity to people and just being able to do really like random things all the time.
Is there anything you'd redo, do differently?
I think I would go out way more because party culture now is just well, it's just not good. Like, everyone's too busy watching other people, and like me, I'm still gonna go out and have a good time, but I feel like I still have enjoyed it more because back then it still felt a bit more like in the moment. Like obviously people still recording and stuff, but it was a lot more in the moment and there was a lot more enjoyment, and you weren't so much worried about people, you know, surveillance culture and all that stuff. So I feel like I would go out a lot more just to, because I didn't realize, you know, no one knew COVID was gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, like post then, it's been like party culture has just not been as good.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. Because I was gonna say that one of the things I would do again, or like have right now, is that the party experience. Mm-hmm. What do you mean going out on a Wednesday night and getting fit? Like, I miss. So basically, the reason I'm asking this question is because I saw a TikTok video of a girl and she was just reminiscing on uni and how like she used to go out and like wear hardly any clothes and be out to all hours of night and then get up and go to 9 a.m. and she said she would never do that again. And I was like, I absolutely would. Like, she's like, yeah, that's not who she is anymore. Fair enough. I think she's like quite religious now, which is fair enough. Yes. But to me, I was like, that sounds like my idea of heaven. Like, I want us to have more experiences like during the week. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I do my best work when I come home at 4 and I wake up at 7. I do.
I get you. I feel like last year I went to a lot of concerts and I feel like it's not quite the same.
Concerts finish at 11. No, I'm talking about 3, 4.
No, wait. It's not the same. Okay. It's not the same. But that idea of going to concerts in the middle of the week and being able to just have fun. Like, I did a lot more going out during the week, so I wasn't like living for the weekend. And it helped to have things to look forward to during the week. But again, like, it's not the same as like going out.
Yeah.
We can't really do that as much now. But it was a little piece of that. Yeah. But not as good. Yeah. You know?
No, I agree. Like, I love doing things during the week. And also, I miss that like all the parties were like starting at 10, finishing at 3. I'm sorry, I'm kind of over day parties. I don't think in my mid-20s I need to be leaving somewhere at 11 o'clock. Why can't the party start at 10? Why can't we finish at 3? Like, I love that. And I think maybe let's keep day parties for summer. I'm going out next weekend, the week after. It's a day party. February. There's no need. We need to be out late. Like, we need to be leaving the club and the sun's coming up. That,
I do want a bit more of that.
Makes me feel alive. We're aging ourselves. That's for the 30 plus. No disrespect, but it's not for us.
No, I do agree to an extent. I think last year I travelled with some friends and we went to Paris, and they're like, they actually have a nightlife there. So like people are actually out. Like, we were really out. We barely slept. Like, it was nice to have that. Yes, it was full of people from London. Like, literally, it was London Central. I saw so many people. But it was nice to be able to go out late and come back early in the morning. It would be nice to have that, because I feel like those are the stories you want to be telling when you're old. Be like, oh yeah, I was doing this. I was doing that. Like, I was living life. I was enjoying. And like, I love the day party because I do like to be in bed. You know, I'm a granny, so I like to be getting my sleep. But I want us to be able to experience both. You know, I don't want us to be restricted to, oh, you have to do it this way. I want us to have the option to be like, okay, tonight you're going to go to a day, today you're going to go to a day party, you're going to have a good time. Next week, you're going to be out to all hours of the night. Yeah. And you're going to have a good time. So like, you can have good time with both ways, but it feels like we're leaning more towards
to the day parties. And I really don't. The only thing I'll say is I do understand, because I feel like most of the events we go to they're events rather than like a club. Yeah. So I do get that, like, organisers are doing the best they can. Maybe it's cheaper to do it during the day, whatever. Either way, we have to work harder to bring back nightlife. I love coming home at 4. People make it seem like a scat. I'm sorry, I do. It makes me feel great. I love coming home at 4. I love waking up and like, oh my God, I've got work. It doesn't bother me. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm tired, but it doesn't bother me. I feel like a 20-something. I'm like, this is exactly how I'm supposed to be. But event organisers work harder. If you guys don't know, after Glorified Jist is settled, because I told Patrice already, I'm coming to the events industry. I've said, you guys don't understand. Look, if you're watching this in 2026, January, no, it'll be out in February. Yeah. Be grateful that you know me now, because I'm taking over. I've said it, I'm taking over. I'm going to do my little podcast, not a little podcast, I'm going to do my podcast.
You do it real big.
I'm going to do it real big, and then I'm tipsy. And then when... Guys, the room is shaking. I don't know if you can hear. What's happening?
Helicopter.
So low. Sorry guys, I don't know what's going on. As I was saying, I'm going to establish my podcast. You lot are going to know who Janelle Asha is. And then I'm coming for the events industry because everybody knows I'm doing an event. 10 out of 10. So, yeah. We are going straight into the gist list because we have... Oh. I thought you said wait. Because we have a lot to get into. And, guys, I'm really excited today because Patrice has a citation. Usually, I'm the one that finds the citation and I'm more than happy to do it. But I thought because... Patrice is also a social science girly, because she also loves reality TV just as much as I do, why not get her back in her element and give me like a bit of
take a break,
even though I do have a citation too, guys. But yes, we're going to get straight into the gist list. So the gist list, for those who don't know, is a rundown of everything, that's not everything, but a few things that have been going on in popular culture, reality TV, internet discourse, that sort of thing. We are going to start with Mr. Kanye West. I'll be honest, guys, I only have one cue card because I didn't have time to write out. So I am going to take my laptop so that I can give you guys the gist for real. So I've got the laptop. But yeah, we're going to start with Kanye West. Mr. Kanye West. So I think the beginning of this week or a couple of days ago, Kanye West took out an ad in the Wall Street Journal and he's written an apology, and the apology is to those I've hurt. So in this apology, he talks about the fact that he was in a car accident 25 years ago, and his main focus and the focus of the people who were helping him was around his physical health and his jaw and everything that went wrong with that. And so his mental health was neglected, including a injury he had to his frontal lobe. And so he says that the frontal lobe injury that he had was undiagnosed until 2023. And part of this injury led to him having what is now considered bipolar. And so in the apology letter or the journal, whatever you'd call it, he talks about his experience with bipolar and how he was manic for a long time, and how being manic stops you from feeling like you need help. When people are telling you there's something wrong, you think they don't know what they're talking about and that you're in your right mind. And so one of the things he did when he wasn't in his right mind was he printed t-shirts with the swastika symbol on it, which for those who don't know, that was the symbol that represented, like, I guess, the Aryan race at the time of Adolf Hitler, when he was leading the genocide against Jewish people. And the Aryan race are like those who have blue eyes, blonde hair, and they're considered like pure. So it's really anti-Semitic, racist, and prejudice, discriminatory, definitely, And so he says that he did this while he was in a manic state, because in a manic state you tend to act recklessly and have a poor judgment. And he says that he's really sorry and that he's not a Nazi. He also apologizes to the black community in the journal, or in the letter, and says that the black community are the foundation of who he is. And then when I was doing some research, because I know he's offended the black community so many times, but I couldn't quite remember what it was. So I went back and I saw that he wore a White Lives Matter shirt with Candace Owens, and then he doubled down on it in an interview. And I watched the interview this morning and I was shook as So when the interviewer asked him, why did you create a shirt that says White Lives Matter? And he says, I put it on a shirt because they do. White Lives Matter. White lives do matter. It's as simple as that. And I was shocked watching that in 2026. I can only remember 2022 when it actually happened, like the effect. You're looking at me so intensely, like I'm a bit scared.
I'm just listening because some of these things, like, it's from reminding me too.
He also wore a MAGA hat and was cozying up to Trump around that time. But he says, he's very sorry, and that right now he's focused on taking his medication, exercising, and clean living. Did you see his post?
I did read the post.
What did you think?
I'm always on the line of thinking, of course, it's so important to talk about mental health and to talk about the impacts. And then, like, we don't fully know how it can impact people's well-being and stuff. But then I also am on the side of, like, obviously his words and his actions have hurt so many people, so many different communities, and I feel like we can't ignore that. We can't. So it's kind of like, I guess when I do, I'm always in two minds, because I'm always an advocate for, like, talking about mental health and shedding light on it, talking about it. But I'm also like, how people choose to take what he said, that's entirely up to them. If they want to forgive him, that's up to them. If they don't want to forgive him, that's up to them. Because at the end of the day, you can't tell people how to feel. But I do think a conversation is important to have about like mental health.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like in those like, I want to understand, but then I'm also like, but you've hurt a lot of people, so like I'm like, yeah.
No, I agree. I really feel like even though the things he did was when he was in a manic state, I think the pain that he's caused is still real. And so we can't ignore the hurt you've caused somebody just because you weren't in your right mind when you did so. Exactly. So I agree with you. I feel like people have choice in it. I don't think he should be... People can choose whether or not they want to accept him or engage with him. And I guess his cross to bear is like whether or not people embrace him or not. When I was reading it, the first thing that bothered me was like he specifies what he did to the Jewish community in terms of like the t-shirt with the swastika on it, and even though he apologizes to the black community, he doesn't actually specify what he says. So I was like, because even the fact that I went to do my research, because I was like, what did he actually do? I was like, why didn't he say anything? And so when I was looking into him resurfacing on the internet, he's now signed to a record label called Glamour, I think they're called, or something like that, and he's releasing an album in March. So I was like, okay, are you specifying and apologizing to the Jewish community because the Jewish community have a lot of wealth and a lot of investment in the media industry? Please, guys, don't, because I've heard that. You got to be careful what you say. Forgive anyway. Are you saying that because they hold a lot of power, and so you're trying to appease them so that when your music drops, or maybe your record label has told you have to do it, are you trying to make sure you've done the right thing, and you maybe don't care to give the black community the same level of the same apology because I guess relatively to like the Jewish community we don't hold a lot of power, or is it just because it was more recent? Like I'm like, how genuine is your album's coming out? How genuine is this? Because if it was me and I had done a lot of wrong, I would come back, do my apology, and go about my business. I wouldn't attach it to like
something.
Yeah.
I think whenever celebrities come out with apologies and stuff, it's so normal to question their authenticity because essentially they are a brand. Like they're there to make they need to make money. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like with things like this, I'm just gonna like sit back and watch it play out, because if like the album comes out and then there's like he's doing like super like promo this, promo that, I'm probably gonna take the seat that like it was just to try and like get people to talk less and whatever before his album drops. Like I'm gonna assume it wasn't authentic because it could be PR, there could be so many other things attached to it. That doesn't mean to say he's not sorry or that he doesn't feel for that and that things didn't happen. But I do think timing is a bit interesting because he's got a project coming out. So I think it's just kind of like, I am questioning him because why now? Like I don't want to take away from the importance of talking about mental health, but why specifically now? Is it because you want to utilize it to continue your career, or is it because you genuinely want to apologize now and you feel sorry for all the things that you've done? So it's really hard with the way that I feel like society is now, where you want to believe someone's being authentic, but because a lot of things are fabricated, you can't take things at face value. You have to question it. You can't just accept that, because it happens a lot. Like people put things out just to continue discourse. Some people don't care about they don't care if people are talking badly about them or talking about good things.
So long as they're talking. No, I agree. And do you know what else? I think that before he lost his collab with Yeezy, he was a billionaire. Unethical, by the way. But I think if you have so much money and you're aware of your being bipolar, because he knew he was bipolar before this situation, if I'm not giving out my money to those who need it, the very least I'd be doing with my resources is like, guys, I have bipolar. I'm known to be manic at least once a year. These are the things I need to be put in place so that should you guys see me acting a bit funny, should this happen, somebody needs to be taking my phone. Somebody needs to be controlling my social media. I need to have like, what's it called where you have a...
Handler?
Not a handler. There's something in, it's like in law, when somebody, a retainer, that's the word. Like, so you have a lawyer who you keep on retainer so that anytime you need them, you have access to them because you're constantly paying them. Mm-hmm. You should have a retainer for like a mental health facility or something, so that should these things happen, you can, like if it's your first time with a manic episode, then of course grace. But I think I've watched a little bit of the Kardashians and seen Kim talk about his manic episodes, and they divorced in like 20...
Quite some time ago
Yeah.
now.
So like this is something that you've been aware of, and if you have all that money and all those resources, the very least you could have done is like put things... I think for me, if I had that amount of money and that amount of people who can help me, that's something I would do to mitigate circumstances like that. Do you know what I mean?
That's something I would do too. If I had that much money, I would do what I needed to do to protect the money. Yeah. And to keep
not even to protect the money.
Safe.
Exactly, because you when you'll benefit from it, when your manic state allows you to make amazing music, which I'm sure he's probably made the best music in some forms of manic period, you didn't care. But when it's now hurting people, suddenly you're like, oh, maybe I should get a handle on it. But I think when you have more, you should do more. Yeah. And I think if you have access to resources, especially money, like when we know how powerful money is, like,
there's so many people out there that are experiencing mental health issues that don't have access to like the best doctors. They don't have access to
and those are the people I give more grace to.
Like they don't have that in there. That's not an option to them. It's either just live with it or just do what they can. Like they're just honestly trying to get by, because it's quite, I think for some people it's quite difficult to get the help that they need, and to again, because financially, like it's expensive to keep like living when you're not necessarily in the best frame of mind. So I think like if you do have the resources, you should use the resources. And I do think a lot could be done if you wanted to then be an advocate and show like this is important. Things can get really bad, like things can get so to the point that I'm saying this, I'm doing this, I'm acting like this, and so like this is what can happen, and this is how we try to manage it. This is what we do to keep my family okay and to keep them protected, to keep me protected. I think it goes a long way to be able to utilize the resources. So I think I definitely give more grace to people that don't have as much resources to be able to manage like their mental health. But I think Kanye is a difficult one,
Because another person who is it no, Gucci Mane, he's married to Keisha Cole. He's a rapper.
Yeah.
And I can't name his song, but I know who he is.
Cole.
Keisha Cole, she's Jamaican, but she's like American.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? No. Anyway, he's a rapper.
I know Keisha Cole.
Girl, no.
Not the same one?
Not the same person, not the same person, no. He has schizophrenia, and he's offended a lot of people in the past online. I can't remember who, but he came out and did an apology about the things that he said. But now he has things in place. So like when he is, I don't know what the manic equivalent of schizophrenia is, but when he's in that space, and Keisha can start to see that he's going into whatever you would describe that. She takes his phone, she controls all his social media, she's making sure he's good, and that's something that they put in place together to make sure that he doesn't cause harm to people. I'm sure some things are inevitable, but it's like
it's nice to have that support.
Making sure it's not as the damage you cause isn't as severe. And I think with all the resources Kanye had at the time, he should have done that. But I guess the only thing we can do is hope that he's learned now. Even if what brought him to this space was like financial repercussions, we can hope that he's on the right path. Those who choose to forgive him, those who don't, and let's hope
I do hope it was all an authentic apology.
In other news of Black Americans being weird, Nicki Minaj My God. And this is so... I never grew up listening to Kanye West. Kanye West is more for like the millennials.
Oh, no. I was a big Kanye West fan.
Okay. My older brothers would listen to him and stuff, but me, I knew his music, but he was never really like on my radar.
Yeah.
However, I grew up on Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj, for real.
Like that, she introduced me to female rap.
Like in the changing rooms at school, all the rap, literally.
Like even from primary school, I remember being in primary school and like, all of us like learning that, and you turn by turn. When it's your turn to stand up there, you better make sure you don't miss a word. Like literally, we were barbs.
Moment for life.
Yeah,
like when that comes on, everyone still goes
super
crazy.
Bass, like I probably grew up on Nicki Minaj, which is why this is so harmful. I mean, hurtful. But guys, Nicki Minaj calls herself Trump's #1 fan and shows off her gold card visa. Donald Trump held a summit for Trump accounts. So Trump accounts are basically investment accounts for children. It's one of the new initiatives that he has now that he's not in government. What would you call it in America? I guess
he's the president.
Yeah, but what do you call
he's in power? No, in office. I think.
Maybe or not.
Some people say
I know the
office.
word, but let's go with office. Now that he's in office, it's one of the things that he's implemented so that even if he's not elected, like his legacy will live on, kind of thing. And so when he has the summit for these Donald Trump accounts, he brings Nicki Minaj on stage and she goes to the mic to speak. Bear in mind, they didn't even make sure the mic was fitted to her. Maybe we could hardly see. All we could see is the wig and the makeup that was very off. But let me not judge because I don't know how I look right now. I'm a bit tipsy. But yeah, she comes on stage and she does a small speech and she's like, she's his #1 fan and she will continue to be his #1 fan despite online hate, and that he has a lot of power and he has God behind him. Mm-hmm. They hold hands, they take pictures, and after the summit, she posts a photo holding Donald Trump's gold card. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, let me explain what the gold card is. So the gold card is a fast track to US citizenship for those who are really, really wealthy. You have to pay £1 million. Yep. And a £15,000, not £1 million, $1 million, sorry, which would be about $7. Yeah. It's still expensive.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
It's still expensive. $1 million, which is the equivalent of £723,000. Okay. And a $15,000 processing fee in return for US presidency.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money.
I will just say I am disgusted, but I will let you first say your opinion on seeing this and stuff. I guess like younger me just wants to know why, like what is the gain from this? What is she gaining from this? Because I'm like, it's just really hurtful. Like I feel like I'm more hurt than anything that she's chosen to take this path, and it's essentially like, why would you support the things that he's doing? Like we've all seen the things that are happening the ICE raids
in America,
moment,
like
in the Twin Cities.
It's like literally tearing, like it's horrible to witness, it's horrible to see. We see people being pulled out of their homes, we see people being killed. Like why would you want to support that? I don't understand. I don't get it.
Bear in mind, Nicki Minaj is an immigrant herself. The whole reason she had to get the Trump card is because she was born in Trinidad. Fair enough, she grew up in the US. I think she came very young, but you are an immigrant. You're seeing what's happened to people who have migrated to a particular country. You're even seeing it happening to white people being killed. That's how you know, because us blacks view that every day, unfortunately. The Latinos are right behind us, the Asians not far behind them, but the whites, when you start seeing white people being killed, that's how you know, right? And it's like, it's clearly no regulation. First of all, even if someone is an illegal immigrant, there's no reason why they should be killed. Let's start there. But the fact that people are dying at the hands of Trump's government, things that he's actively supporting, and even if we forget everything that's happened since he's been reinstated, that was the word I meant to say before.
Because obviously he was president before.
Yeah. He's back. Even if we forget this term,
this period of time.
Even if we forget this and we go to before, he said that he doesn't want Somalis in his country. He said a lot of things that are racist, homophobic, transphobic, all of these things. That was before he even got back into presidency.
Exactly.
That is never somebody that I would ever condone, sit behind, like publicly defend.
Correct me if I'm wrong, is he not also a convicted felon?
Yes, I forgot. And he's on the Epstein list.
So there's a lot of things on that.
And to go on a public stage and say that you're his number one fan, bitch. Like, and that's me who has loved Nicki Minaj, proper grew up on her. Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And as a Caribbean, everybody knows I love Trinidad. If I wasn't Jamaican, I would be from Trinidad. I talk about this all the time. I'm disgusted.
Yeah, again, like, it's just, I don't get it. Where did you get this line of thinking from? Like, what happened?
But yeah, it leads me to the question I have is, do you believe that everybody has a price?
I think that for the most part, majority of people...
Wait, sorry, before you continue, the reason why I'm asking this question, sorry for context, is because what I can't work out, like you were saying, is are you trying to figure out why, is whether it's genuine conservatism, maybe as she's gotten older she's a lot more conservative, or maybe she genuinely aligns with like conservative racist policies, whether it's a means to an end for her, because obviously getting citizenship. Also, I think maybe getting citizenship could help her with her husband, who is a convicted sex offender, getting a pardon, which Trump can grant. And so there is an angle that she could be doing this for a means to an end, which is why I was asking the question, which I'll ask again. Do you believe that everyone has a price?
I think for a large majority of people, there is a price. If the price is there, they will go against their morals and their values and everything they believe in for money. I think money has so much impact and influence over the world that we live in and the society that we live in, that it would be silly of me to not think that people have a price. I do think there are a fraction of people in this world that for no amount of money they would never sell out, but I don't think that's in everybody. Like, money changes people. We've seen it happen. Money changes people. People get loads of money, they become a completely different person. They forget about who they were before. We've seen it happen time and time again. Like, again, we don't know these people, but you can actively see the changes in their behavior when they get money. You know, I just think it would be silly to think that everybody doesn't have a price. But then even saying that, I know that there are people out there that for no amount of money would always stand like 10 tones down on their morals. But those tend to not be the people that are in power or the people who have power. Because I do think within the society that we live in, those who tend to have power, they tend to have a price. They tend to, you know, be able to be bought with money.
I would have always thought that, like, the less money you have, the more you're likely to have a price for certain things. Like, say, if you had loads of your own money, then you'd be like, I don't really need to sell out for certain things because I have so many resources. Which is why the Nicki Minaj thing kind of surprises me. Sorry, not resources me. I also believe that everybody has a price, but I think when ethics comes in, it's a bit different. My version of everybody has a price is, would you slap your brother for £100? And yes, £100 not a lot of money. Yes.
No.
Would you slap your brother for £1 million? Okay. Would you slap your brother for 10k? Yes. Would you slap him
We'll split it.
I'm not even splitting that.
No, because I feel bad.
I don't care, personally. I don't care. Would you slap your brother for 10k? Yes. Would you slap your brother for £1 million? Yes. We need a table. Go and flirt with that uncle. Everybody has a price. Those are my sort of like...
Yeah.
But the whole publicly endorsing somebody who is so racist, so vile, is like a sexual predator, baby. I
think that within...
That made me really dizzy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think when you get a level of money that you don't know what to do with it, I think there's a level of want that there's something that's missing for a lot of people, because I think if you have money but you're not happy, you want more. There's always something you're gonna want. If you don't learn to be satisfied with what you have, you're always gonna want more. So I do think when you get to a certain level of earning money, you still have a price, because there's always more that you want, because you know you can get anything, but you want sometimes what you can't have, or you want something that's unattainable, and you also like the risk of doing something, because with money you don't have to take as many risks when you know you're financially stable. So you're like, oh, I want a little bit of danger in my life, let me do something a little bit different. So I do genuinely think that when people get a lot of money, I think they lose sight of certain things, and they are more willing to have a price, because at the same time, like, no amount of money in the world, if she's trying to get her her husband a pardon, no amount of money in the world is going to do that. She needs to be in good with
Trump,
so it's like, that's something that her money can't buy. Yeah, I think there's so many situations that we've never been in, or we've never encountered, and we don't know what we would do. Like, maybe we know what we would do now with like the money that we have, but if we have like, I don't know, 10 times the money we had now, do we know what we would do? Do we know who we would be with that amount of money? Again, I'm not excusing any behavior.
No,
I'm just saying that like, that's like a whole nother world.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that doesn't matter how much money you have, there's still something that you can't get, and you'll sell everything out for it.
That's a shame. Do you know what? Yeah, there is a number in my head of the amount of money I'd want to make in my life. It's pretty high. It's not billions, guys. I'm not a weirdo. But there is a number that I have in my head that's pretty high. But I have no desire to make even hundreds of millions or billions, trillions, because I just think it's so unethical. And I think, like you were saying, it makes you tap into a world that, like, we would never understand as us currently. And if we found out, I think we'd be truly disgusted.
Honestly, I think
they'd be eating children.
Oh.
Anyway, all I can say is as a former barb, as someone who grew up on Nicki Minaj's music, it is very disheartening and disgusting to see the person she has become.
Yeah.
I always think I like we were saying with Kanye West, I tend to extend the most grace to people who lack resources. And so if she was someone who didn't have much and she didn't have access or whatever, I'm not saying that I would ever agree with it, but maybe I'd have slightly more understanding of her reasoning. But to be Nicki Minaj, to be the queen, I'm still going to give her the queen of rap, I will. To be that girl and to still stoop so low, I'm going to say, for a man, baby, it would never be right in my eyes. Anyways, moving on. So like we were saying in the beginning of the episode, just as much as I love reality TV, so does Patrice, and just as much as I love social science, so does Patrice, because she is... I did cultural studies and media. She did sociology. So really and truly, she is the true essence of what it means to be a social science babe. But yeah, we watch a lot of the same shows. Yes. We watch Love Island and we usually watch it together. When I say watch it together, we watch it at the same time and we text. We watch Married at First Sight together. Yeah. I'm a Celebrity, although we missed the last season because too much was going on. The capacity was maximized.
Life was life in.
Yeah. What else is there? Big Brother.
We just watched Traitors together.
Traitors.
Well, you put me on Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Well, we don't watch that together.
But we don't watch it together, but we used to talk about it a lot.
Did we?
Yeah, because remember when I was watching it, I was telling you my thoughts throughout as I was catching up. But I think Nene is coming back.
Yeah, but the thing about you, Patrice, you're not, when it comes to Real Housewives, you're not serious enough.
I'm not serious enough.
Let me tell you guys. I watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of Potomac, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, although I haven't watched Beverly Hills this season because last season was not given. Salt Lake City, Miami, Dubai, even though they've now been cancelled. New Jersey, New York.
That's a lot to catch up on.
Married to Medicine. I watched Stars of Sunset, which, by the way, they're now coming on out with the Valley Persian edition. I watched The Valley. I watched Vanderpump Rules. I watched Vanderpump's Villa. It's not a joke here, and you're not serious.
I'm not serious. I'm not serious enough to be able to commit to the Real Housewives
you don't know
franchise
what
like that.
Like this is a way of life.
I get it.
Yeah, and I don't think you're ready. However, if there's anybody, calm down, Janelle.
Breathe.
In my current phase of life, there's actually nobody who watches it the way I do. Those friendships have unfortunately come and gone.
Stop it.
And so anybody out there, if you like them shows, please be my friend. Because I have nobody to talk about. And I would love to do a Glorified Jist episode that is straight Real Housewives. Guys, Karen Huger has come out of jail. She's going to be at the reunion. Wendy, she doesn't even know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what's going on.
Wendy might be going to jail.
Oh,
Like, people, I'm tipsy. But I need somebody to talk about these things with. So if that sounds like a bit of you, please DM me. Please, I can't keep begging.
she's so serious.
I'm not joking at all.
I know.
I'm not joking. Anyway, she doesn't watch Real Housewives, but as I was saying, we watch a lot of reality TV together, and one of the things we watch that is on right now is
Love.
Are you okay, bro?
I'm fine.
Love Island All Stars, which is on at the moment. So guys, we usually watch it together and text, but what we did for you, so we could give you your live reactions, is we deprived ourselves.
Yes.
So we watched Love Island All Stars independently for a week. So it was supposed to be from Sunday, but I couldn't watch it on Friday. Where was I? I don't know. Basically from last Friday, bear in mind it's Friday today. So basically a week. And instead of texting each other as we usually do, we have written down our opinion so that we could give you. We've also both found a citation that is relevant to the things we've been watching. So we're going to dive into that, and hopefully this is fun. Your citation better be good.
I think before we actually get started, I want to kick off with a citation because I think that will kind of open the gates for the conversation.
What's happening? Okay.
So I'm going to get out my little notebook.
Okay.
That I've got.
I love this.
I'm a serious babe.
Lift it a bit higher so the camera can see.
So we're gonna.
Ain't nothing in there but 2 words. This you're on the first page.
Yeah, because I got my new notebook, so it wouldn't make too much noise.
Oh, so thoughtful.
Okay, I'm gonna define the term misogynoir.
Oh.
So, misogynoir is a subtype of misogyny that deals specifically with racial and gender prejudice towards black women. Sometimes I can't read my own writing. It is fueled by toxic stereotypes that generally perceive black women as angry and strong or hypersexual. So this is a term that I found from, what was it? I wrote it down, but I forgot. I will leave it in the caption. Okay. Description, yeah. So the website from where I got that definition. So essentially, I found this article, and the title of the article was "The Anti-Black Forms of Misogyny That Black Women Experience," and it was from the Open University that a writer wrote about this, and they had a little bit of a study on it. But I kind of just picked out a few things. Some terms, I want to throw them out there, and whatever ones kind of resemble the topics on Love Island, I want us to kind of like delve into. So there was one thing within the article that was called white centering, which is when white people make about themselves, so they do not have to be uncomfortable or hold themselves accountable for their actions or harming, hurting or ignoring black people or their feelings or actions towards them.
Jess.
There was racial gaslighting, which is denying that racism exists or arguing that black people always make it about race. There was tone policing, which is a tactic that is used to dismiss an idea being communicated because the person expressing it appears to be angry,
Shaq and
sad, frustrated, or in an emotionally charged state. And the
angry black woman.
And the last point from the article they defined was defensiveness, which is typically appears directly in the form of justification of one's own or another person's behaviors, rejecting any accusations of racism without reflection. So those are like key things I saw in the article that I thought might be helpful to start the conversation.
Okay, I like it. And I think it's so relevant to what's happened with Shaq and Whitney and over the past week or so. So in the last episode, in the episode before this, which was a voice note episode, I spoke about Shaq and Whitney and my feelings watching it and how uncomfortable it was as a black woman, a black British woman, but also a black British Caribbean woman. And how intersectionality is so important and how it affects how you view things, perceive things, experience things, and how there might be one element of you that's so feels so seen in terms of the support for Whitney, but then another part of you that's like, well, there's this part of me in terms of being Caribbean that's like, you know. But I spoke about that in depth in the last episode, guys, so please go and listen to the last episode of the voice note. I think if you're a black British woman and a black British Caribbean woman, I think you'd really resonate with it.
Definitely.
But I'm glad you brought it up because I did want to start with Shaq and Whitney. So even though I've spoken about the situation before, I want to speak about it again because the Glamour magazine article has come out since that whole situation happened. So it was an article by Robin Eugene, as I said, it was in Glamour magazine, and it was titled "What Whitney's Treatment in Love Island All Stars Really Tells Us," with a subtitle of "When a Black Woman Takes Up Space, She's Quickly Labelled as Aggressive." And so for the most part, the article reiterates what happened. So it speaks about what led up to Whitney's attack. Am I speaking really fast?
You are speaking at quite a fast pace.
Sorry.
I just realised, as you said it.
Okay, so the article reiterates what has led up to the attack on Whitney. And it speaks from the perspective of a viewer as like a black woman, and how even though she was upset by the way Shaq spoke to Whitney, for the most part it was unsurprising. How that as a black woman, if you take up space, you're labeled as like negative stereotypes, aggressive, loud, argumentative, and that sometimes that leads you to mask. So like you know how Whitney, she didn't cry or anything, and she was just very like stoic, I think would be the word, even though she was upset, but how that comes from not wanting to be labelled as rude or loud or aggressive.
Definitely.
The article also speaks about Shaq's approach to Whitney and how his hands were all over the place. He was swearing, he was towering over her, which is something I pointed out in the voice note, but I didn't get to speak about in enough depth, and how that was really traumatic for her, and then how she feels like if Whitney were to be a white woman, there would probably be loads of Ofcom complaints about things about Shaq being like, I guess, an aggressor.
Because in that moment she was very, very calm. She did not raise her voice. She kept her composure, and that was not like recognized at all by like when he was in that state of like frustration. He didn't recognize that she was trying to keep the situation to a minimum. He was, it almost felt like he wanted to get her riled up, to get her to, you know, be the stereotype of the angry black woman. That's how it felt as a viewer anyway.
And the article talks about that and how she did well to not mention race at one point throughout that whole discussion, because she could have been accused of playing the race card, which is something that you said in your citation, and that how the whole episode had undertones of racism, and it reflected the experience of a lot of black women in England, whether that's dating or at work, in friendships or in any environment. You're constantly told that you have to shrink yourself in order to not be seen as aggressive. And I'm so glad your citation was what it was, because I really wanted, which I didn't get to touch on in the voice note, was how Whitney, without saying much, mitigated the hell out of that situation and saved Shaq. Because even though she didn't say it, when she was like, can you sit down and talk to me, it was because, baby, you are black and big. Don't ever forget that you're a big black man, bro. Sit down before they say you're a gorilla trying to kill her. No, but it's true.
Excuse me.
It's true. Like, and that's what bothered me so much, because Shaq did not extend the same grace to Whitney. I don't think that anybody in modern day blackness, but specifically black British, is unaware of the angry black woman trope. And so I think as black people, even though the real solution is for us to be seen as who we are and not angry anyway, I think until we get there, black people, we have a duty to one another to be like, let me try and step in to make it seem like, to make it you not be seen as an angry black woman.
Exactly.
And he did not extend that grace to her. In fact, he helped paint her as an angry black woman. And when it was his turn to be the aggressor and to be swearing and to be standing over her, and it was so subtle, but as a black woman, you saw it. So go on.
I was going to say, like, I think when I was looking at discourse and seeing how people responded to it, I felt like not enough people were speaking about when he was angry and then he came back to talk to her whilst he was still angry. And got round up again. Whilst he was still angry. The thing is, he took himself away from the situation. He was frustrated. He was upset. He felt how he wanted to feel. But then he brought all of those emotions and frustrations back to her when she had also removed herself from the situation. So she was taking this time to process what was happening. It wasn't just that situation with him. It was also the situation with Jess. So then he was like, he didn't care about how she was feeling in that moment. He only cared about how he was feeling in that moment. And he brought all of those emotions. And the way he was talking to her, the way he was completely dismissing the fact that this is probably not the best time to have this conversation. I should probably calm down. But correct me if I'm wrong, when I've seen him get into any other issues within the villa, he has actually waited to calm down before speaking to them. But with Whitney, I noticed it was, you know what, I don't care. I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to deal with this now. I'm still riled up. I'm still angry. I'm going to talk to her right now. But it was like, do you think this is the right time? Do you think this is the appropriate time to be towering over her and talking down to her, and then she has to then express that you need to like tone it down a little bit?
Exactly. I think it's it really speaks to how as black women we're actually taught to mitigate and be understanding of the emotions of black men, and they're never taught to do the same to us. I think he probably felt so comfortable to do that because we're
his friend.
And like whether it would have been his friend, his sister or cousin or whatever, we've all been taught how to kind of manage those situations or to put our feelings on a back burner so that somebody is allowed to talk to you that way. And you do your best not to make them seem angry rather than acknowledging your own emotions, even though they're never going to do the same to you. It was uncomfortable to watch and hurtful to see, but the only thing I am happy about is the fact that we did get like this Glamour magazine article, for example, and how there was such online support for Whitney. It was, I don't want to say it was a win because the win would be never being spoken to like this in the first place, but to see online support is something that we as black women never get, and it was like,
it was nice. It was nice to kind of see that like people understand that in this situation. Like she was just expressing something. She may have not got it exactly right, but she didn't deserve to then have to be subjected to that type of like way of being talked to. And so it was definitely nice to see like some support for her, because a lot I feel like we've seen her get dragged a lot of the time online. So it was nice to see support for her.
That's true. And you know what's so interesting, and I was talking to my cousin about this earlier, but somebody we know was basically talking about how I would feel if they were to go on Love Island. This is a black man, by the way. And I said to them that even though it would be a good opportunity for them, and even that I'd hope that they would go on there and be loving to any black girl that was on there, whether it was romantic or platonic, I could not guarantee that they wouldn't go on and act like Shaq, because I think sometimes black guys, not all, but some black guys have biases towards black women that they're not aware of. And I think sometimes it can come off in the way as it did with Shaq, because I'm sure Shaq doesn't feel like he has any bias towards any black women or that he's ever treated any black women. He'll probably come out now and have like a massive shock or be surprised that he's been painted in a particular way
when he sees the memes.
But like he wouldn't he going in, he probably didn't expect that to be painted that way. And I think that's probably true for a lot of black guys. Think because you're not going around calling us dirty black monkeys that I need to stop talking.
Girl, sorry. 0 to 100 real quick.
Sorry, but
like I get it, but like
But it's true.
It's true because
true.
we've all seen it.
Exactly. You think because you're not using that harsh language that you don't have any biases or any prejudice towards black women. But in the way that it's come out with Shaq, I said I can't guarantee. And by the way, this was before the Shaq thing happened, which is why it's so interesting. I was like, I can't guarantee that you wouldn't treat black women unfairly. And even though I hope you wouldn't, I would hate to have to see that online and on TV and then have to deal with the repercussions of how do I see you? How does that like, do you know what I mean? The ideal is for you to not be like that anyway, but I'm not taking a risk on many black British guys. I'll be real in terms of how they're going to show up. I'm not. And I said, don't do it.
No, I personally wouldn't tell anyone within, like, who's in my life to go on it. Because I think you never know what other people you're going to be on that show with. Because, like, we can talk about how some of the experiences, like, within the series that, what series was Joey in and Sean in?
Last season, 2 seasons ago.
Or something. Like, we all witnessed the experience of the black people within that, like, within that season. You never know what type of people you're going to experience when you're on that show. You never know if you're going to be around someone who's going to trigger something that you didn't even know that was going to trigger you. So I think it's always a risk because, again, it is like a, what's the word, the incubator. Like, you're in this space, you're with people, you're with them 24/7. You don't know all your triggers. You don't know all your, like, subconscious thoughts that you don't realize that impacting the way that you see life. You don't know all of that. None of us know all of it. A lot of the time we don't. There's sides of us we don't understand until we're in that specific situation. So it's always going to be a risk to go on a show not knowing, like, because there's been situations like you might be the only black person on that season because, like, someone else might get kicked out. You might experience a lot of loneliness or being, like, misunderstood. There's so many things that could happen within the season,
regardless of it's race or anything. Is that what you mean?
So I think it's always it's always going to be more of a thing for us because we don't just have to think about, like, being on the show. We have to think about how we're going to be perceived online.
True. But somebody who we did not speak about that was integral in that situation and in many situations because he loves to talk is Scott.
Oh,
so don't worry, Scottisha. Guys, this is the last person on Love Island we're going to talk about. So if you felt disconnected, it's coming to a close. So Scott is what I would like to call a chatty patty. I would love to be friends with Scott. I think he would be perfect on Glorified Jist. Scott, if you're watching, come on the podcast. However, I could never date a man like him. No. I could never. No. He is in a woman-dominated field and he loves it there. It's too much for me. You know, there's that saying, like, who is the messiest person you know? A man. They were talking about Scott. Yeah. They were absolutely talking about Scott. Scott is in everyone's business. Anything that's been passed on from one person to the other, more than likely it's been passed on through Scott. Right, yeah. Cool. So then a couple episodes ago, there was a game of, like, giving the box to whoever it fits. So you'd have a golden box. In the box would say stir in the pot or messy or snake or green flag, red flag, blah, blah, blah. And you had to give it to the islander who you thought it best suited, right? Yeah. So it's Scott's turn and he gives the stirring the pot box to Sean and he gives it to him for snaking Shaq because Sean, too much names, I'm tired, man. Because Sean had kissed Belle, who Shaq was getting to know, even though they had agreed not to do that beforehand. And so he, as in Scott, considered that snaky. And he says that Sean tries to make people feel sorry for him by like doing the woe is me kind of trope. And then he proceeds to drag him for like a couple minutes. And then Sean gets really emotional. And Scott says, well, I don't conform to your tears. And then Sean proceeds to call Scott a bully. I feel like this will only make sense if you watched it. And I'm so sorry to everybody who's listening and has no idea. Next week, the week after, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. I don't have an episode or a guest. So, but thank you for getting this far. Pending. So what I actually wanted to talk about was not so much Scott, but the online discourse. Oh, by the way, I have Twitter now.
You got Twitter again?
I have Twitter now. It's only a burner account. I'm not tweeting. I'm not even going to give it to anyone. Okay. It's just because I felt so sorry for you sending me tweets.
I didn't mind it. It was fun.
I appreciate it. But, like, people sending me, like, you and a couple people sending me tweets and stuff. And I just felt, instead of asking you, oh, what's the Twitter discourse? Let me just be a grown up and not grown up, but let me just go and discover it for myself in my own time.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, guys, I got banned from Twitter a couple years ago, and I decided I just wasn't going back.
You didn't even do anything worth being banned.
I didn't, but they took my account away from me, so I haven't had it for years because I feel like Twitter can be a very like dark, devious, and
Definitely.
like just bad mind place. But I have Twitter now for the sake of the podcast. So Glorified Jist, if you're watching, just because I made a Twitter account so that you guys could have a better experience, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you're listening, please rate the podcast. Leave comments if you're on Spotify. I'm trying hard to deliver a great episode for you guys. Okay, but something I wanted to talk about was the online discourse. So now that I have Twitter, I can see. So Audrey, okay, so I am a big fan of the Receipts podcast. Yes. And one of the people on the Receipts podcast is Audrey. Audrey's Finest, or just call me Audrey. I love you, Dan. Please come on the podcast. She's actually like my dream guest. And the only reason I'm talking about this is because I feel like she's somebody who, from parasocially anyway, she seems very open to like feedback, criticism, and like maybe being wrong about certain things. Right, cool. So no hate, baby. Love you. So Audrey tweets and she says, this is after Scott has said I don't conform to your tears.
Yeah.
I'm speeding up again. It's so hard to talk slowly.
No, I get you.
Audrey says, Scott is a black woman living in a white man's body. He's even clocking performative tears, right? And so the response to this was, I saw people saying you have low racial self-esteem. This is not a compliment to black women because not all black women are argumentative, opinionated, and rude. And Scott is performative and you guys are feeding into it. That whole discourse I saw online made me think of the invited to the cookout trend.
Yeah.
Which is where if a non-black person is seen doing something, maybe they can dance really well, they can cook good, anything of the sort, they then get an invite to the cookout by a black person, right? And so for my citation, I first looked into what actually does it mean to be invited to the cookout. I get it, but we gotta make sure everything is backed up, right?
Yeah.
So this is a blog post by Aziza Powell and it's titled "The Real Meaning of Invited to the Cookout in African American Culture," and it basically talks about the cookout, which is an African American cultural reference for a social setting, usually informal, where black people can come together, let their hair down, and feel like they're being real. And this could be a cookout in terms of like basically like a barbecue, a family picnic, a reunion, something just like that, where black people gather. They basically say that black people feel safe in these spaces because either black people or some non-black people have proven to them that they're allies, and so whoever's at the cookout has the well-being of black people at the heart of the things they do, right? So that's what being invited to the cookout means. Yeah. And so my second citation is titled "The Cookout Was Never For You: Black Kinship, Digital Gatekeeping, and Cultural Boundaries Online." And this is a blog post, and it basically talks about how being invited to the cookout has gone from actually having some form of meaning for black allies to now being a place for performative anti-racism, and suddenly now it's so easy for everybody to receive an invite to the cookout. Now obviously Audrey didn't use the words invited to the cookout, but I think because she used the words a white man in a black woman's body, there's what's the word, there's
connotations,
let's go with it, there's that there. So this article, or I guess blog post it could be considered, talks about how somewhere along the line it's become less about kinship and more about just getting clicks, or less about legacy and like real impact and more about being performative. How the cookout has now become like a popularity contest of some sort, and how there's an issue in the black community with gatekeeping and how this shows up online, and that when we talk about gatekeeping, it shouldn't be about exclusion but about protection of a culture and a people who are often neglected in society. And the reason why I wanted to talk about the whole invited to the cookout concept, I'm actually going to take it away from Audrey, is because truthfully I don't know how I feel about Scott. I don't know how I feel about Scott. I think his actions are great, but something about him, and I keep this to myself because everybody loves him, is not genuine to me.
Yeah.
I feel like when he had the experience with Catherine in his season and he came out, is it because my boobs are dropping that you're looking at them?
They look good.
They actually, let's not talk about it. I think he came out and he saw the support he had because he coupled up with Catherine and showed her love.
Yeah.
And he saw that more than anyone, black women were behind him.
Yeah.
I think he recognized that it was his audience. And you know what? Maybe somewhere along the line, he also became more educated and more understanding of like black issues and our experiences. And so maybe some element of it is authentic. But I do believe he knows his audience and he plays into it. Something about him saying, I do not conform to your tears.
Yeah, I agree. I feel as though he is very much a wordsmith. He knows how to play it. And
sorry to interrupt, he's so like some things are so rehearsed. Even when he was like to Sean, oh, you're like Paul after, and something about high rocks, and do you know what I'm trying to say?
It just like, I'm not saying that he doesn't genuinely have these opinions, and I do think, like, because he is friends with Whitney, I do think that maybe they've talked about these things, or there's been some discourse there, and you know, like, I'm not saying that the things he's saying isn't believed, but I even remember when we first started watching, and I was essentially saying to you, like, I want to believe that he really is into Leanne, and like that is real, and that he's genuine. Like, I want to believe it, but there's a part of me that's not allowing myself to completely trust him. And like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If genuinely is all for her and that happens, like, wish them the best. They do look good together. I like them together. But there is a part of me that just is not buying what he is selling. I really want this to be really him, but I'm not buying it. Like, I don't believe it. It doesn't fit. To me, it doesn't feel
authentic.
It doesn't
feel authentic. And you know, it could also be that somewhere along the line, maybe black women kind of put the title on him more than he, like, maybe he wasn't like, oh, I'm going to play into this audience. And maybe he was seeing all the love and like maybe tweets like that from his first season were like, oh, you understand us so much, and he was like, right, well, let me play. They want me to be this person so badly, let me be it. So maybe it's not all on him, and maybe as a community we have to do better with boundaries and stuff. But I don't think we can ever equate someone being an ally to fully understanding our experience. And also, as someone who's a listener of the receipts, I don't actually think Audrey meant that. I think she just meant he can see the I can see through the bullshit. What's it? It's Mama Joy. She's like, to come to you with the bullshit. With Todd. But it's like like, I think all she meant was that he's clocking the things that we're clocking. Where other people might say, oh, you're playing the race card, or I don't see it like that. He's able to identify what we see. I think that's all she meant. I think it was relatively harmless, but I do think that we need to be a bit more mindful of the people we allow into spaces or liken ourselves to, simply because we have common opinion.
I think just because someone says something, that doesn't mean that we should put them on a pedestal, because isn't that supposed to be the standard? Aren't you supposed to be backing up people when you can see those tropes happening, you can see the misogyny, you can see like what there's been a picture painted, people are utilizing their privilege to make things work in their favor? When you see that, you're supposed to call it out. You're supposed to call a spade a spade. Like, I don't think we should praise someone for speaking up when they should be speaking up. It's okay to just be like, I like what that person said, and leave it at that. Or it's nice that person spoke up, and leave it. Like, it's okay to just acknowledge that in this moment they're speaking up, and not have to kind of tie it to all these like, you can just recognize someone speaking up for speaking up. It doesn't have to always align with what we're thinking and what we want it to be. I think sometimes we try to paint a picture that's not always necessarily there. I'm not saying that that's the case here, but I think sometimes we want someone to speak out on our behalf because we're sick and tired of being painted a certain way when we say the exact same thing. But like, that the fact that it's being listened to from that person is part of the problem in the first place. Because if we said the same thing, we already know how that would be painted. So I think, yeah, there's levels to it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't have anything else to add apart from Audrey. I love you. Please come on the podcast. So we've spoken about Kanye West. We've spoken about Nicki Minaj. We've spoken about Love Island. And I think there's been a there's been a theme of like being performative and stuff. And so my closing question to you is, with everything that we've discussed, what do you think Black communities actually need more right now? Is it to extend grace? Do we need better boundaries, or do we need better discernment, or something else?
I don't know. You've got me speechless.
Sorry.
Better discernment, better
grace, boundaries, or discernment, or something else. What do you think the Black community needs right now?
I think we just need to be real and call things out and be okay to just call it what it is. I do feel like we don't always have to have the same opinion on things. And I think sometimes we do get to a point where it's like, if it's this way, it has to be this way and it can't be any other way. So I think maybe just having more conversation with different points of view and coming together and actually listening to one another, because I do feel like we're not always listening to each other. I think sometimes we're just saying who can say it the best way or be the most vocal about it. That's something. I don't feel like that answers your question very well.
No, it's okay.
But
I get what you mean.
I'm just kind of like, from what we've spoken about, we have to talk more about constructive conversations. Because I'm actually sick and tired of like seeing certain discourse where it's just you're actually trying to misunderstand each other. Like, two things can be true at once. That's one thing I've always been like, let's actually try and understand each other, because again, we're not all the same and we all have different experiences. In one situation it may be that thing, but another situation it could be very similar occurrences happening, but it could be completely different. So I think that's what I would say. Let's listen to each other more. But yeah, sorry that I didn't answer the question. I just couldn't
No, it's fine. You heard her, guys. Let's listen to each other more. And I agree. And for me, I think I would say boundaries. I think we need to tighten. I'm tired, man. Tighten regulations on who is allowed into our spaces and who is allowed back into our spaces when they've done harm to people, but especially people within our communities. I think we'd be respected a lot more as a community if we had stronger boundaries, higher walls up, still be the loving, joyful people that we are, but for people to know that, you know what, I can't disrespect you and then come back. I can't really go wear a MAGA hat or wear a swastika shirt and think that there's room for me to come back and be like, hey dudes, new album. Like, I can't go in and talk to Donald Trump and then be like, okay, but Barbs, I know you guys are mostly black, young and gay, but the tour's coming, so please buy my tickets. I don't think like because somebody who is white shows us some form of affection or allyship that we should be right. Black card, come get your black card. I don't think it should be that. I think we would be further along if we had better boundaries. But I also understand why we are here. So that is not a critique. That is just a form of whatever the other word is. But okay. Before we go, we have to do my favorite segment, which is Pillow Talk. So for those who don't know, Pillow Talk is the concluding segment of Glorified Jist, and it's where I give my guests a comment card like the one I have here in my hand. If you're listening, it's a pink card that is in the shape of a pillow, and this is where the guest gets to release their inhibitions. Pillow talking is when, after you've got done doing the do, you lot are lying down, tell people's business. It might be your business, it might be someone else's business. I personally don't judge. But in this segment, I'm giving you a card and you get to say, maybe there's an opinion that you had throughout our discussion that you didn't feel comfortable saying out loud. Maybe you have a story on somebody else who you would love to say, but you don't want to be a gossip. Whatever it could be, it's an anonymous segment that the guest gets to say whatever they want. I'm going to keep collecting these until episode 5. And then on episode 6, we're going to start reading them out. So a guest will take a card at random and they will get to read it out, and we get to just think about who the hell said that. Why did they say that? Oh, that's so juicy, whatever. If you're coming on the show, please make these juicy, okay? I don't want any boring things. We can do that through text message, okay? This is a podcast. I'm trying to win here, right? Okay, so I'm going to give you this card and you're going to write how you feel. But we obviously don't pillow talk in public. We pillow talk in private. And so we are going to go. But I am so grateful and thankful that you've come on to episode 3 of Glorified Jist. Thank you so much for supporting me in everything I do. I have a gazillion ideas, and every idea I have, Patrice will be like, go for it. What can I do to help? Where do you need me to be? Can I set up? I'm going to repost this, blah, blah. You are the definition of a supportive friend, and I'm so grateful for you. And you know, I don't do all this like soppy stuff, so we're not going to make it too long. This is not like me. This is your one for the year, so make sure your ears open.
Hey, I've got it. I'm going to catch it.
But yeah, I'm incredibly grateful, so thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Do you want your socials out there? You not?
Maybe my TikTok.
Okay. I don't you post your concert videos.
Yeah, I like to go to concerts.
Yeah, she goes to a lot of concerts. I will put her socials here. Go like this. I'll put her socials there. Thank you for joining me, the host Janelle Asha, for episode 3 of Glorified Jist. You can follow me on social media, Instagram and TikTok at Janelle Asha, and of course you can follow Glorified Jist on social media too. We are at Glorified Jist Pod on Instagram and TikTok. The gist is with a J for Janelle. Keep up with us, interact with our content, see what's going on behind the scenes. Oh, we need to do a behind the scenes video. I forgot.
Okay.
Just come and vibe, follow, interact, do whatever you've got to do. I have loved talking to you. I will see you next week for the voice note, the mini-sode, and I'll see you the week after that for episode 4 of Glorified Jist. Bye.